Really? Those two teams just plain don't like each other. That's right. It's rivalry week. Good, clean hate flowing all over the country. And speaking of hate, for those of you that would like to be mad at my co-host and you like Vanderbilt or Diego Pavia in whatever combination, please make your way over to Team MBS Sports. That's www.teammbs.com and check out his scintillating article on one Diego Pavia. And once again, I want to make sure that you understand that the viewpoints, thoughts, and ideas of one Matthew Brunelli do only represent his own ideas, thoughts, views, and viewpoints, and not collectively that of Team MBS Media or the College Football Forecast show as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen.
So you're saying that you think Diego Pavia is a Heisman candidate?
What I'm saying is that I admire your spirit and I enjoyed your article. But don't ever send me the hate mail. That all goes directly to that man over there.
I'm fine with it. Come on, it's hate week. I'm okay with it.
It is hate week.
I got so tired of seeing all the media, or not the media, the fan base of Vanderbilt and all this, like Diego Pavia is a Heisman candidate contender and number one. And I think even on 3 had something saying he was the number 2 Heisman candidate. And it's just like, do people watch the games that matter, or are you just looking statistically? Because if you look statistically, which is what the article is, Diego Pavia is not that great statistically against top 25 teams. And that's all the article speaks of, is his stats against bottom-dwelling teams like Charleston Southern, Utah State, and company, compared to the top California. And I gave him benefit of the doubt. I put in South Carolina. I put in LSU. I put in Texas. I put every team that he was ranked at the time they played him and gave him the benefit of the doubt, and still the stats don't match up against. He's 3-2 against ranked teams, soon to be 3-3 this weekend.
Ha! Perfect segue. So we will definitely come back to Matt and let him further anger various people, but we have one of my favorite people in the world, and of course a special guest, someone I've known for years. Since we both were thinner and had more hair. And this is an exciting year for the Oklahoma program. And it hasn't been easy, right? It's got twists and turns and all kinds of wild stuff. But now Oklahoma's pounding down the home stretch with, I don't know what the FPI numbers say or whatever, but I would say a far above 50% chance of being in the field of 12. What's the mood in and around the program, Nolan?
It's weird because it's hard to believe we're sitting here at 9-2. It's the 4th week in a row being outgained. Fourth really, with exception of Alabama, several games in a row where the other team starts out fast, moves the ball at ease. And even the Missouri game, the way Missouri moved the football down the field, I kept thinking, this is it. This is the one where this offense is gonna come back to haunt us, because we're gonna need them to make several plays, and they're not gonna be able to make one. And just holding Missouri to that field goal at the first, I remember my son and I looking at each other going, I think we're gonna win. If we score 7 points, my son said this to me. He said, Dad, if we score 7 points, we win. And I didn't really think that was going to be it for Missouri, but somehow, some way, Brent Venables uses the word grimy. This is just a grimy football team. I mean, there's nothing sexy about University of Oklahoma. There's no, Heisman candidate. There's no Baker Mayfield. There's no Kyler Murray. There's no Adrian Peterson. There's no big wide receiver. There's no Malcolm Kelly's. There's no Mark Clayton's. On offense, it's just a bunch of guys just doing enough to win a game, and then a defense doing a carry job.
Is this the best Oklahoma defense since Stoops? I mean, since the sort of peak Stoops years?
I would say this team reminds me a lot of the 2001 team. Nate Hibble's first year till he got hurt. Then Jason White come in, and then he gets hurt and go back.
Speaking of Heisman Trophy candidates.
Right. And that's when Jason White was a dual threat quarterback. So that tells you how long ago that was. That 2001 team lost a couple of games it probably shouldn't because it had no offense. Lost to Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Lost to Texas A&M, I believe. Struggled to run, struggled in the air, but just had, Roy Williams, Tommy Harris, freshman Tommy Harris, Rocky Kalmus. The first game of 2000. I'll go back to this real quick. 2001, our first game against North Carolina with Julius Peppers, and the first quarter ends. We were up 21-3, and the offense hadn't scored. And when I go back and look a little bit of 2001, and I watch those teams and watch, some of the struggles and how they look, it really reminds me of this team. I would say the 2001 team is probably the best defense Stoops had, and I'll say that this 2025 team defense is probably right there below it.
The thing that I noticed is they seem to know how to find the play that you don't think is going to happen. Like there's times like when you kind of see it, like, oh yeah, this is the moment where they can make the play. But they seem to make the play even when the moment doesn't seem to be there, right? There's times when you kind of feel it, like, oh, they're going to give up this, but somebody's going to punch the ball out, or they're going to dial up the slot blitz and get the quarterback from the blind side, and we'll get the ball back. But they're coming up with plays that aren't like obviously there to be made. Is that a tribute to the coaching, the play? I guess probably both. But like, why do they have that ability to make plays, even ones that don't even seem to be there to be made?
I really feel, and not to upset Matt any, but you go back to that Tennessee game, and that's kind of set some games won before that, but you look at, Tennessee just looks like it's going to be an easy night for them. They're down again. Looks like they're going to score again. R. Mason Thomas makes the play, scores a touchdown, and the game completely changes. And it feels like this defense just knows, like, the moment's not ever too big for them.
Mm-hmm.
And even, down 3-0, down 7-0, there's just somebody on that team's going to make a play. Now, I'll say this about this defense over that 2001 team. There's a lot more playmakers on this defense than they've had maybe under Stoops as far as on the field at the same time. Bowen Brothers, Kip Lewis, Grayson Hotham, David Stone, R. Mason. R. Mason hasn't played the last two games, which is arguably our best defensive lineman, and it's not changed anything. Heineke and Owen Wayne, like, there's just so many guys out there that can make plays whenever it needs to happen. And right now, it's like this team is made to make the big plays in the big moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very pleasantly surprised. Go ahead, Matt.
It's okay knowing that you beat us because you did me a favor and you went down to Tuscaloosa and handled business. So I forgive this year because you did that for me.
Yeah, that was for you. Yeah,
that is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
So let's stick with Matt. There is some good, clean hate also flowing through your veins. Take us into that.
It's clean, sir, but we could say it. So yeah, obviously it's the big rivalry. We call it a big rivalry. One team sees it as a rivalry. The other team just sees it as another week. Let's be honest. Vanderbilt barely even registers on the Tennessee Volunteers weekly schedule. Like, we're upset that they're actually continually as our rival for this upcoming new 9-team schedule. We got stuck with Alabama. Not Alabama. We didn't get stuck with Alabama. Alabama was good, but we got stuck with Kentucky and Vanderbilt. We didn't want Vanderbilt. We didn't want Kentucky. We got like the short end of the stick when it comes to the rivalry with the new 9-team schedule coming up next year in the SEC. But we've owned Vanderbilt for a while. Diego Pavia likes to think Tennessee has ran through Nashville. You can't have a year and a half of good play and say that Tennessee runs through Nashville. That's not what it is. Knoxville has owned Tennessee for the last 100 years. It's not going to change now. It's not going to change under Clark Lee because let's be honest, Vanderbilt hasn't signed that man because they know he's not staying. Lee's gone because Diego Pavia is gone. And the Vanderbilt team is going to be back being nothing at the end of the year because it's going to be a whole new staff with the whole new quarterback. And that's why kids are already decommitting probably at Vanderbilt because they see the writing on the wall. Saying all that, Tennessee has shockingly kind of flipped the script last couple of weeks on defense. They stopped New Mexico State, whatever, to 9 points. But we allowed UAB to score 28 points. We allowed multiple bad teams. ETSU score 17 points. Syracuse, 26 points. It's a long list of bad teams scoring a lot of points on us. We finally stopped New Mexico State to only 9 points. And then last week in Gainesville, we stopped Florida to 11 points and, didn't even have to score in the second half because we just stopped. Our defense stood up and finally became something. If that defense shows up again in Knoxville at 3:30 this Saturday, Diego Pavia struggles against good defenses that create pressure. We haven't created much pressure, but our interior defensive line does create pressure. It's not coming from our edge; it's coming from the interior. If we can get in Diego Pavia's face and make him make pressure and try to keep him, not allowing him to use his legs as much, because there's a lot of teams like Missouri earlier this year where Diego only had 12 carries for 20 yards. If you can do that, you can win the game. There's multiple times that Vanderbilt should have more losses than they do. And I think playing in Knoxville this year with an elite defense, where Vanderbilt's defense is actually like 105th when it comes to rushing the big plays. Tennessee's known for big plays. I don't think they can stop Braswell. I don't think they can stop the Mike Matthews and the Brandon Staley. We have 3 wide receivers for the first time in Tennessee history with over 700 yards. So choose your poison on who you're going to stop because the other guy's going to make up the play. And then we have a 3-headed monster at running backs with Star Thomas, Deshaun Bishop, the walk-on for us sensation. And then we also have Peyton Lewis. So we have the weapons. I don't think Vanderbilt's a great, well-coached team, and they do well. This is going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like it was last year. I know Vanderbilt went on a quick 21-0 run on us, but we turned around and completely shut them out and scored 48, and it was 48-21 at the end of that game. Don't see that happen again. This is a good LSU team or a good Vanderbilt team. Tennessee handles business this week. And you know what's the best thing? It puts us back into playoff contention. I don't think it puts us into it. I think there's just too much. I think we're completely out. But you know what it does? It completely knocks Vanderbilt out of contention, and then it completely knocks Diego Pavia's Heisman candidacy out the window. So there's a lot for Tennessee to root for this weekend and a lot to play for. So this game is not like something that doesn't mean anything. We're playing to keep Vanderbilt out of the playoffs.
And we thank you for the air quotes, Matt, as you mentioned once again. You never missing an opportunity to take more shots at Mr. Diego Pavia.
He's not afraid to take shots. So he wants to take shots. I'm right back at you, Diego.
Well, you're not wrong. He's spicy. He is one of the spiciest quarterbacks post Baker Mayfield, right? Probably Baker was pretty spicy, but yeah,
Baker stood up though. He put up the numbers. He played well against great teams.
Yeah.
He didn't win and end up winning it all, but he was there. He came back. He made big plays when he needed to. I haven't seen that. The closest it came was the Texas game, but I do feel like a lot went Vanderbilt's favorable by the refs. Not trying to take stuff away, but there was some plays that probably shouldn't have gone the way they did for Vanderbilt.
Again.
I love how you always start by saying, I'm not taking something away. And then you immediately take it away.
He takes it all away. Takes all of it away. He takes all of it away plus extra.
I have no love for Vanderbilt. I
detected that there may be
I used to not care about Vanderbilt, but Diego makes you hate Vanderbilt. I understand that Tennessee, Vanderbilt fans hate us because we beat them for so long. I get it. I understand why. I get why people hate Tennessee. Because we've beat them for so long. I hated Florida for so long because of the same reason. I hate Georgia for the same. I understand the hate, but don't come in here and act like you had a year and a half of good play and that you're better than the team that you think you're going to beat that you have not beat yet.
Okay, got it. Staying with really impactful and very spicy games. Georgia Tech is, even when Georgia Tech isn't really good, is usually a very good game. And Georgia Tech's good. They're a little bumped up, but most teams are this time of year, right? There are a lot of guys kind of, rubbing some this on that, rubbing some of that on this, and taping it up a little extra and icing it a little longer. I'll stick with Matt for a moment. How do you think Georgia Tech plays out?
Man, it was very shocking to see Pittsburgh completely manhandle Georgia Tech this last weekend. Pitt just got beat by Notre Dame pretty soundly while game day went there for the first time in a long time. And then Pitt was like, oh, we're not done. We're not going to just roll over and let our season be over because we're still playing for the ACC here, So to go into Georgia Tech down in Atlanta and handle business like that to keep themselves in the contention to play in the ACC championship was a very impressive win. But the Georgia Tech, this is another game in Atlanta. This isn't the same Georgia team, even though they're ranked 4 with only 1 loss. They're a field goal away from being a 2-loss team a couple of times or 3-loss team. It's going to come all down to Hayes King. What Hayes King are you going to see against this Georgia defense? Is Georgia going to make him make mistakes, and are they going to be able to stop his run? Because he has a decent arm, but he's known for his legs and making the plays with his legs. If you can keep him in the pocket, that's what you have to be if you're Georgia. You focus on keeping Hayes King in the pocket and not let him make the plays with his legs. If you do that, I think Georgia wins. I think Georgia wins. The cover is 2 touchdowns. I don't know if I get 2 touchdowns. I don't know if Georgia beats by 2 touchdowns. I was going to say 10. I don't see them beating 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 20-31, somewhere around there. What say you, Nolan?
They're gonna eat the clock.
It's interesting compared, since that game last year is probably one of the best football games I've ever watched between Georgia and Georgia Tech. Haynes King, just another one of those just grind it out. They don't get too greedy on the offense, which I think most teams that have struggled with Georgia is whenever I can't think of anyone that's really struggled moving the ball against Georgia. It's just when teams begin to get greedy and try to do something that's out of their wheelhouse, do they usually trip up. And, Georgia Tech showed last year in that game, they were content. They were content with the 4 and 5 yard runs and the 6 yard plays and to grinding out and make it a 4-quarter game plus. I like Georgia probably by, it's hard for, 10, maybe a little much for me, again, it's in-state rivalry, which I know necessarily doesn't mean everything, but a lot of these kids have grown up playing high school ball together, and it kind of changes how you approach the game personally. I would say Georgia by 8, but I don't feel if it goes in to the halftime with them tied, I would not be surprised.
The big thing is that if Georgia Tech wants to keep their playoff hopes alive, they have to win this game. If they lose, Georgia Tech is completely out. It still probably doesn't affect their ACC chances, obviously, to be in the conference championship game, because right now it's Pitt and UVA. So you would need a couple things to happen to jump back up because they're 4th place.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I agree. It's going to be a good game.
And, last year, and I'll say this, last year, the game, we didn't see, Georgia Tech was playing with 0 pressure.
Yes,
and so, I think you're really going to see a lot about who Brent Key is and who Haynes King is by how they play this game, because there's, Matt is absolutely right. This game is coming in with some pressure on them to go out and get a win to further their season. And so, if Haynes King plays the game he plays, inside reads, 3, 4, 5 yard carries, and he stays healthy. That game last year where he's just basically, I didn't know how he played the last quarter, much less the overtime. He took so many hits. If he can stay healthy through the game, if he can stay upright, and if they can stay within their wheelhouse of just getting what they can, this isn't the Georgia defense of the last few years.
No.
It's definitely plausible that Georgia Tech goes in and moves the football against them. but
Yep.
I will be shocked if they do win.
I think we're all in agreement. So I mean,
Yeah. I think that if we get a superhero performance from Hayes King, because of Georgia's defense being, solid, but there's no, oh my God, how do we stop that guy, right? Because normally Georgia has 3, oh my God, how do we stop that guy, guys? And this year they don't really have 1, which I'm not used, like you, I'm not used to seeing that. Like, it's been a while since they had Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis at the same damn time. Those are 3 guys you have to double team. They all play at the same time.
I mean, they were just stacked with NFL first rounders.
You get no respect to Quay.
Yeah, I mean, Quay's a good player. You have to double team him, but he's a good player. I'm pointing out that these are guys that you have to game plan for, right? Yeah. It's like, how do we handle? And there's no answer because you're not allowed to put an extra guy. You can play an extra offensive lineman, but you don't get an extra player, right? You don't actually let you have 12 guys on the field. So you're sacrificing something.
They don't have the secondary like they usually do. You don't have the Lasser, you don't have the King, you don't have the the Starks. You don't have
Starks. There's no. Nolan and I remember watching guys like Boss Bailey and Champ Bailey. I mean, they used to have exactly. They had guys. They've had guys there forever. And
you know what? We're talking about this, and I guarantee you, half of this defense will be in the league.
Don't get me wrong.
That's
We're
not talking bad about the defense. It's just
no. I'm just It's by comparison. Right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about. It's like when we were talking about billionaires earlier. It's like, oh well, Mark Cuban doesn't have Jeff Bezos money. No, that's true. He does not.
It's like comparing basketball players to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You tell someone, oh, he's no Michael Jordan. Well,
there's only one Michael Jordan.
That doesn't mean the rest are bad.
Yeah.
Right. So
we every week we say, hey, it's not that we're talking bad about the defense.
So
it's every week we say that.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm going to say is, does Gunnar Stockton have a hero game? Right now, they don't normally ask him to do that much, but sometimes when they do say, we need you to do that thing, he goes out and does the thing.
He did against Tennessee. He made the throw twice. He made that on 4th and 10, 15 yard. Exactly. Beautiful throw to make the touchdown to tie, to get the time, and then made the 2-point conversion to tie. I mean, so you can make it.
That's the point I'm making, is that Gunnar Stockton is capable. The term I use is game manager plus, right? He's not a game manager, he's game manager plus.
Yeah.
And a lot of very successful quarterbacks are essentially game manager plus guys that essentially you sort of keep the boat afloat until there's oh my God, the boat is sinking. And then he does more, right? Then he, bails out the boat and patches it, right? And that's what, Stedman did, right? They've found their guys sort of at Georgia, the kind of quarterback, sort of like a better version of the Saban quarterbacks, that Saban had for a long time.
Yes.
But a better version of them, right? More athletic, more dynamic.
You always get the same guy over and over and over again, and it works.
Right, but better versions of better versions.
It's annoying because as a Tennessee fan, I have to watch but as a NFL scout guy, I always I like the Georgia quarterback. I can see, or I like the Alabama guy. I see these, and it's just I would like that one year. Just say, here's my quarterback. I like that quarterback. It's always annoying. I really like that Georgia quarterback because there's another one, Gunnar Stockton. I've watched enough Georgia now to be like, I like Gunnar Stockton. I don't know if he's an NFL guy, but I like what he does in the college level right now.
He's definitely an NFL guy. I don't know if he's an NFL starter.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's another. Who's the one who just went? Who's the backup for the Rams?
Right, Stedman.
Stetson Bennett.
Stetson.
There it is. Thank you.
Stetson.
Yeah.
Stetson. Yeah. Yes, thank you, Stetson Bennett.
I was getting Stedman stuck with Stedman Bailey or Bailey.
It's right. It's Stetson. But guys like that can certainly hang around the league for quite some time. Yeah. And then eventually, go into private quarterback coaching or media or whatever it is they decide to do. After,
become the next NFL head coach.
Or yes, eventually allow them to go in that direction.
What do you think? What do you think about him in comparison to Carson Beck?
Oh, that's a fascinating, because people don't think of them as the same kind of quarterback, right? Because they aren't. They're not the same kind of quarterback.
No.
So Carson Beck is one of those guys. He's like a better version of the Clausen brothers, right? Where there's this mystique surrounding him that you never quite see it on the field, but the coaches swear by it. The teammates swear by it. Oh yeah, he's the guy. Like, I don't think it's an act. I think his coaches and teammates generally think he's awesome, right? But I can't see it, right? I'm starting to wonder if there's something wrong with me, right? Because all these people who seem to know a lot about football think this guy's incredible, but I can never find the incredible part, right? So he's better version of the Clausen brothers, stronger arm, a little more athletic, but it's that same sort of the Emperor's got no clothes on when I actually break down the tape. Like, okay, he made a decent little throw there, but he also missed an even better play if he just, holds on it to another half second, or if he gets it out a half second faster. He's one of those what I call almost guys. You know how there's that guy who everyone talks about as, he's going to be a double-digit sack guy, but he's always a 4.5 sack guy who just misses those other 5-6 sacks, and he never gets over the hump. He's always a 4 or 5 sack guy forever, but everyone's convinced he's gonna get there, right?
Right.
Ziggy Ansah, like guys like that, like they're right there. Oh, he's gonna right. So he's the quarterback version of that. I think he's always gonna be a tease. I think he's gonna get a bunch of chances. People are gonna be convinced, I can fix him, but he'll never get fixed.
Yeah, does he get drafted? I don't know right now if he gets drafted. I mean, depends on who gets
drafted. Oh,
I don't know. It depends on who declares. I mean, if enough of these juniors declare, I don't know.
What's he 24? Why would he declare?
No, I'm talking about all these. If these juniors who can declare, it pushes him down that board.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't think next year's does him any favors. I mean, like I think
he has to declare. He has to come out.
Right, he has to come out anyway, right? So he's like I say, he's 24. I think he's 24 and change. So yeah, he's not exactly he's a kid in terms of life, but he's not a kid in terms of football. You know, his football years are starting to shorten up a little.
You said a lot about right, but it's just he makes too many boneheaded decisions.
For a guy that's played a lot of football. He still makes a lot of.
You're watching a freshman a lot of the times, and you're just like
he does things. Like when I see Arch Manning do these things, I say, well, the kid's only had 9 starts or whatever.
Yeah.
Now he's at 10 starts, whatever. Now, but this guy's had 30-something starts. Like I should be seeing, you know what I mean? Like I shouldn't be seeing.
You shouldn't be having these questions after 30 starts. And the SEC and now the ACC. The ACC is a weaker level of. When you talk about SEC to ACC, it is lesser competition. I know you like your ACC, Bill. But
I think no. Here's what I'm going to say: the very top of the SEC is still a little bit better than the very top of the ACC. The middle of both conferences is dead on the same. NC State versus Kentucky.
Oh, I think Kentucky's not middle of the pack. Yeah.
Well, you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should say, okay, hold on. You're right. Let me be a little more fair with it. Florida. I think NC State.
What year, Florida?
This year's Florida, obviously.
I think NC State owns this year's Florida.
That's what I'm saying. So I think the middle. See, the bottom SEC beats the bottom of the ACC. The top slightly. I think it's closer than you think, but I agree that most of them would win. The top 3 against top 3, they win 2 out of those 3. But the middle, I like the middle of the ACC slightly more than I like the middle of the SEC this year.
I mean, guess what? The best time of the season is about to come. We'll find out these answers when the bowl games start coming.
Yeah,
that's when we'll find out the answers to these and many more questions. There's many more super fun and interesting games to be played, and I want to dig into all of them. Right here in my state, I have connections in some way, shape, form, or fashion to both schools that are playing in the Governor's Cup. Now, Northwestern's having, for Northwestern, a banner year, a chance to get to 7 wins. Illinois is having a solid Brett Bielema 8 or 9 win season that I think we could sort of plot out for the next several years as long as Bielema's there. So for Illinois, this is, another day at the office, but for Northwestern, this is, they already clinched bowl eligibility against Minnesota. Now, this could be the real cherry on top if they beat their, quote unquote country cousins from Champaign. It's sort of like the, Duke, NC State, or Duke, Carolina, where you have the, the private school that's smaller in size and, has to overcome certain natural disadvantages to be good versus the bigger state school. And the trenches is, for, not surprising to say, is where Illinois clearly has an advantage. Illinois has 2 or 3 legit NFL guys on each side of the ball along the line. Duke has 1 or 2 guys on defense I think are very good. Their offensive line is, I said Duke. I meant Northwestern. Northwestern's offensive line it's not bad, but there's nobody you point to and say, "Wow, that guy's gonna kill it."
Like Peter Slonsky or
right. They don't have a guy where you're like, "Wow." I love, as I've made it clear so many times, Darian Minster, their quarterback. Their running backs are slightly underrated. I think their running back situation is a little better than people think. The wide receivers are, guys who are playing wide receiver in college. They have a tight end who I think has a chance to hang around the NFL as a tight end 2 or 3 for a while. And then it gets a little hard. They have 1 or 2 defensive backs that will make an NFL team. I think one of their linebackers plays. I think one of their defensive linemen has more than just a cup of coffee in the NFL. I think 1 or 2 of the others maybe also has a very short stint in the NFL, and then you're done. So if this is always a big if, but if Illinois does not make mistakes, which is, like I said, a big if, they should win by about 10 points. But Northwestern is extremely opportunistic on defense. They do a great job of getting extra possessions for the offense and getting the offense great opportunities to score, which is good because they're not built to drive 80 yards. They're not that kind of offense. They can do it, but they're not terribly good at it. The game that really impressed me, the first time I saw, Northwestern's offense was, of all things, the Michigan game. A close loss, and Michigan helped, once again, 5 turnovers. But I saw them, do some things on offense. They ran the ball fairly well on a pretty darn good Michigan defense. And they got a couple of shots to Wildy. It looks like it should be pronounced Wild, but it's not. It's pronounced Wildy. They got a couple of shots to Garrett Wildy. Their tight end caught a couple of balls. Preston Stone is one of those guys who I think might have been a 4-star coming out. And I don't understand how these things work. I don't know how this guy was a 4-star, quite frankly. I don't get it. He's not terrible, but I've seen guys that were 2 and 3 stars who I think are way better. So I don't know how that works, but he's learned to not turn bad plays into worse plays. It took him a while to get that. Once again, a guy's out to start a lot of games. It took him a while for the light to come on in terms of that. He did that a lot last year, and a little bit earlier in the season. He's pulled it back some because I think he's still right around. I think he's still at 7 interceptions. He got to 7 quickly. I think he's just sort of stopped there. But he got to that 7 really quickly. But yeah, to his credit, he's pulled back the reins on that. So I think that, like I say, for so many Northwestern games, to me, the most important number is 2. Do they get 2 extra possessions on the good side of the 50? If they can get 2 extra possessions on the right side of the 50, they can win this game. Anything less than that, I don't think they'll pull it out. I'm going to ask you, Nolan, what do you think?
This Illinois team is one of the craziest. I watched them play in Indiana, and going into that game, this should be a very competitive game. And then it was the exact opposite of competitive.
Right.
And so they look just. That was a beating. They should have rated like TVMA or something
There
because
you go. Yes.
it was awful. And then I believe it's the very next week when they play USC, and
Yep.
I'm thinking, man, USC's just you know USC's just going to roll these guys, and the exact opposite happens then.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know that I can recall a Biolema team that can't really run the football very well.
Yeah.
That's just very odd to me. It's very odd for me to watch a Bird Biolema coach team and not see a running back that can. I mean, doesn't have to be a great running back, but someone that they can just throw up there 20, 25 times a
Yep.
game. It's going to get his 100 yards. Going to get, they're going to secure the ball for a while. So it's really, this is just a very unusual Illinois team. Preston Stone. I watched Preston Stone in 2023 when he came to Oklahoma with SMU, and I'm watching him play, and I'm thinking this kid is going to be, he's going to be okay. Like he's going to be a pretty good quarterback. Like he was still young. He's going to he's going to develop. He's going to get better. And sometimes these players have these ceilings,
Yep.
and you automatically assume because of a player's grade or age that they're going to get better. But I've seen kids their freshman year, that's as good as they get.
Yep.
I mean, that's just as good as they get, and it doesn't matter what they're doing, who the coach is, with training. Like it's like there's this peak that people arrive at different times, and it's like he hit that peak in 2023, and they're trotting out the same guy over and over and over again, and it's just like that's. I mean, we know who he is.
Yep.
You're not going to go into another Northwestern game and go, yeah, next game he might be the game. Like, no, it's not. It's just not. Um, I like Northwestern. I like the attitude of the team. I like the build, the spirit of the team.
Yeah.
It's kind of even since Fitzgerald's been gone, like the spirit of the team still has kind of remained the same.
Yep.
Like we're not going to be sexy. We're not going to, we're just going to go out and do our best to muck up this football game and see if we can win. So, I would say Illinois by 7, but I mean, if something happens, because again, who knows what Illinois is going to do?
Yep.
I could clearly see, Northwestern coming out on top.
Same thing. Same question to you, Matt. How do you see the game?
I see Illinois. I mean, you guys said a lot of the things I've thought about already for this game. I mean, this is, a rivalry game, but it's not the big one that everybody's going to talk about or think about. I think Illinois handles business, but this Illinois team has been so confusing all year long. Beat a USC, but then lose to Wisconsin, and then beat an this team makes no sense to me. I don't know. They beat a Duke, but then lose to Washington and Wisconsin. So what is this team this year? What are they going to do? Luke Altmaier is going to have to keep this ball. He is the whole offense. Can he make sure he's had a good year? He's going to have to keep moving the ball and keep this game, because you guys, like you said, this is really weird. Brett Bielema not having a running back to be able to go on and say, hey, you're going to carry us all the way to this victory tonight. He doesn't have that in this running back. So I don't trust Stone. Stone has shown nothing. I mean, he's had a couple good games, but he's never done it back to back this year. So I don't trust him against a rivalry, even though at his age, you think you said it, he's reached his peak. He has not anything else. He's 13 touchdowns and 9 interceptions this year.
No.
I don't think Stone is going to be enough. I mean, they have a decent running back. I think just because this Illinois team makes no sense that it's going to be closer than it should be. I think it's a 7 to 10 point victory for Illinois this weekend.
Yeah.
I do think Northwestern has a coach that's going to get this team going in the right direction again, but you're gonna have to find some pieces and definitely find a quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they'll be hitting the transfer portal again.
I think a lot of teams are just going to live off not even try to find the fresh high school recruit. They're just going to live off the portal quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, they a lot of good quarterbacks do come out of this part of the country, The problem is they do not tend to go to Northwestern. Um, uh, shout out to JJ McCarthy and several others. But yeah, it's difficult. I mean, Northwestern is in an interesting sort of conundrum. They're good enough that they can get the occasional, really good football player, but it is occasional, as I mentioned, and they can't string a bunch of them together, right? They can get one here and one there. They've got one offensive lineman that some people even have like a top 50 grade on, and that's it, on the offensive line. Like they have one really good offense, like when they had Rashawn Slater. They had this one, wow, look at that guy. I mean, like that was it was it was like you're like digging through a box of cereal and then, oh my gosh, a diamond, right? Sort of like that, right? It was like amazing. I remember the first time I saw Rashawn Slater, he was like maybe 18 and a half years old, and I was like, I thought, did this guy transfer in? Like I was trying to figure out, like, look, he was so fast and smooth and athletic, and like, where did he come from? And like I couldn't stop watching him. But they can't get two. That's the issue. They can get one, but they can't get two.
Well, I don't know if anybody saw this. It's a little bit of rivalry, definitely with Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Has everybody seen the news about Eric Morris being the next head coach at Oklahoma State?
Yep.
All right. I just saw that open on Twitter. He's going to take over once their potential college football playoff berth is over.
Yeah.
Right. So Eric Morris is a guy that has been coming for a while, right? We both have seen Eric Morris coming for a while. He's off of the Mike Leach, Dana Holgerson, air raid tree. I guess if you want to go back to Hal Mummy, you could almost tie him into that if you wanted to. Was a pretty good little slot receiver himself back in the day.
Yep.
I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to call him a younger version of Dana Holgerson. That's not quite fair, but he's got some Here's one thing I said: he's a little more adaptable, I think, than Dana Holgerson was. But I'll bring Nolan in. What do you think of the hire, Nolan?
Well, for Oklahoma State, that's about as good as a hire as you're going to get, as far as coming in and not needing a lot of time to implement what he does. That's for them. That is definitely a home run hire. I've watched a lot of North Texas football this year. Very sound offensively. I hated this guy as a football player because he was they called him the elf, and little slot receiver that the season, I believe, that Oklahoma beat them like 60, was when they were number one and Oklahoma drilled them in 2008. That's the first time I'd seen him play, and he was making plays all over the field, even for them when they were losing. And it was like, why can we not cover this little pipsqueak? But anyway, solid background. Mike Leach has just turned out coach after coach after coach. Amazing what history looks like. I think he'll be successful. Big 12 is a perfect place for Eric Morris. I think that, I still think like Utah, still think BYU, I still think Texas Tech are, going to be teams that they're going to have a tough time dealing with that offense. But, it'll definitely be an improvement over what they've been experiencing. So great hire for them. And also, let me give you a little free side note here, Bill, Matt. I spoke with Kel Gundy last week, and Mike Gundy is going to be coaching again soon.
Okay.
And Kel's going with him.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
And so I'm interested to see, because as soon as I saw Eric Morris was hired, I thought, I bet North Texas makes a call to Mike Gundy because Mike doesn't want to get far from Oklahoma. I don't see Arkansas dipping that far down for a coach, but that would be a good landing spot for Mike Gundy and Kale. So anyway, just a little side.
I've heard a lot of rumors of Campbell from Iowa State getting the Arkansas job.
Oh boy,
That makes more sense to me.
Hmm.
You know, the way his defense, the way that he coaches, his style, you know, he definitely makes more sense for an SEC team. So I've heard that too. But, you know, every year I used to hear Gary Patterson was leaving somewhere.
right?
You know, it's some of these guys are they're truly loyal and bound to their teams, no matter what level they are. And sometimes it makes me think he's the same way, but we'll see where Arkansas throws at him.
Yeah, it'd be curious if Drew Westmaker follows Eric Morris up to Oklahoma State to be his coach.
That'll be interesting to see. And I'm going to throw one other thing. And I don't have any inside sources or anything, but you know, Daddy Bryles finally got a job. I wonder if North Texas also, you know, now that the Bryles name apparently is not quite as radioactive as it was a few years ago.
Yeah.
I wonder if Kendall Bryles they kick the tires on him at North Texas with Morris.
Yeah. When Art Bryles had his picture taken on the Oklahoma football field and nearly got his son-in-law fired that night.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely a different concept. But again, I'm just on the Gundy stuff. Just thinking about someone like he doesn't want to leave Stillwater. You know, he wants to be somewhere where he can coach, but also be close to home.
Right.
You know, that would definitely. But you know, Kendall Bryles, the Bryles family. I don't know if they're ever really truly going to go away.
Right. Well, I don't say you should ever go away, but you know, we now have seen, you know, Art Bryles get a job, so maybe not a big one, but
yeah,
I feel like if he does well, somebody will work up the nerve. Probably, you know, like at the Sam Houston State level. I'm not saying maybe a big school.
Yeah.
If he's killing it, because he tore it up in Italy, which admittedly is, you know, may not mean very much, but say what you want about Art Bryles. That guy can scheme some stuff up, I guess is what I'm saying. But you got to decide if is the juice worth the squeeze? Speaking of squeezes and juices, ladies and gentlemen, a man's got some juice. The one, the only Mr. Donovan James.
What's up, guys?
Who, with this appearance, pulls back into the lead in our FOTS rankings. That's right. We have a new number one again.
I love it, man. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it, man. Always blessed to be on your show. Thank you, guys.
So
on a Tuesday, it feels weird.
Yes. It is hate week, and we're getting an early start. Of the various, hate-drenched games that are going on, which one do you want to start with? Which is your favorite?
My favorite. I don't be a homer and go with SECU tours going. We got 2 places we're going this week, so I'll switch it up. Okay. Honestly, my favorite, like just the one I want to watch the most, no strings attached, nothing, is Vandy, Tennessee.
We have 2 votes. 2 votes for Vandy, Tennessee.
Oh, really? 2 votes? That's funny.
Oh, yeah. We have two very, very strong. We definitely have 2 votes for Vandy.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, like, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia Tech for me, like, just because that's the game. And then, like, you know, I'll be at Georgia Tech. But
okay,
Tennessee, Vandy's just, that one kind of stands out to me the most, I would say. Yeah. I'm trying to be a little outside the box. So
there we go.
I don't want to give you the generic Don answer.
Can we just talk about how Ohio State fans are now trying to say the game doesn't matter because they won the college football playoff last year? Can we just talk about how petty that is? You haven't beat Michigan, your biggest rival, in over 2,000 days, but now you're like, well, that game doesn't mean anything anymore, so it doesn't matter because we won the playoffs, and the game, you don't need to win that game to be in the in the tournament or win the championship. So I think that is such a weak cop out by Ohio State fans to say that the game, the 100-year war, whatever you want to call it, that game doesn't matter anymore because you don't need to win it to mean something because you can still win the playoffs. I mean, you still want to beat your rival. I don't care what kind of football, that game matters. And you know what? Michigan will gladly keep taking the W over you every year if you don't think that game doesn't matter.
If you were to say that in the presence of Bo Schembechler or
Oh,
or
exactly.
Woody Hayes, at whatever age they were, you'd at least get kneed in the balls. Like there's no way, there's no way. Woody Hayes would definitely slap you around
Yeah.
at whatever age if you said something like that in his presence. Uh, Now, some of that is simply, sort of just the, laughing, putting the mask on, right? Laughing to keep from crying or whatever. Because you can do all these things as a program, but there's one thing you seemingly can't do. Now, I know we say this a lot, but I think this might be the year.
Well, here's the thing. If the game doesn't matter anymore, Ohio State, how about you stop Xing out all the M's across your campus? If the game truly doesn't matter, then don't show up and play, because if the game doesn't matter. Like, if you don't want to win it, then don't show up and come and play. Don't do all the things of crossing out all your M's across all the signs throughout campus and on campus and throughout Columbus. Game doesn't matter. So stop acting like it does.
Yeah. Well, we all know that the game matters, and it matters even more because of all the stuff they've managed to accomplish, except so and like I said, I mean, I definitely don't feel strongly about this, as you can tell, but I do believe Ohio State manages to pull it out this year. But I don't believe it strongly, obviously. I'm not betting grandma's insulin money on that. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
it'll be interesting. I think this is.
I'm gonna drop down to Donovan. How do you think that game plays out, Donovan?
Not good for Michigan. Not good. I don't know about betting insulin money and stuff as a diabetic myself, but yeah, I would take Ohio State big. I think they win by like 20, 21
Oh
points.
wow, no.
Yeah. I don't they just it's not gonna be pretty for the secondary. Not gonna be pretty for Mr. Bryce Under, who I love. He'll be good. Not Saturday. Next year probably, or whatever bowl game they play in, because won't happen versus Reese, won't happen versus Downs, won't happen versus that. It's not the defense you want to play as a true freshman. And Julian Sand's gonna have a moment. He doesn't care about any of this stuff. He just wants to win every game. He doesn't buy into the hoopla and the hype, and he wasn't there for all that stuff. I mean, he was there last year in the locker room, but he wasn't. The ball wasn't in his hand. So that's just his attitude. Has been his attitude since I've known Julian since he was 16. And when I talked to him this offseason, just I know everybody says just another game. It's not to him, but that's just how he is. It's just how he's wired. Some people are just legit built different. And Julian's one of them. He'll go out there and just play like he's been playing, which is perfect every week. So, I mean, it's not going to be close. 38, 38 to 4, 38, 4, 38, 14.
Okay, there we go. First of all, before we move on, Donovan, you look great. You look fantastic. I don't know what you've been doing, but keep it up. You look
Man, this, like I said, diabetic. Had to change the diet a little bit in my 30s now, mid 30s. So, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, though.
Certainly. My pleasure, sir. I'm going to jump. I'll move slightly over to this side, and then I'll bring on Nolan. How do you see the game playing out?
First of all, I'll say that Ohio State, I know what year Will Howard was in, but I'd seen plenty of Will Howard, and I assume that the quarterback play is going to be a lot better for Ohio State this year than it was in the previous years. But also, I not in terms of prestige or, this rivalry has kind of been like Oklahoma State over the years, in that the team that should win doesn't always win, and sometimes talent doesn't show up, but hate does. And I'm a big Sharon Moore guy. I think he knows, how to keep his team close in this. I think Bryce Underwood's going to be a star. I think if they free him up to make plays and do what he can do. I really don't expect him to win. I would probably say solid a 14-point win for Ohio State. But again, it's just another one of those games where at the end of the day, if we see a score that says, Michigan 17, Ohio State 13, I will just shrug my shoulders at it. I won't.
Yep.
We're not going to be going like, oh my God, can you believe that this happened? It's going to be like,
Yes. Of course we believe it can happen.
Of course it can happen. You got two tough football teams that, man, Ohio State they're the sexy team. I mean, at every position, they're playing great on defense. One of the best college football defenses I've seen in years, just from start to finish. I don't know how Michigan can compete, but then again, it's a rivalry game, so anything can happen.
I'm going to say this about Ohio State. Ohio State is more like Georgia than Georgia is like Georgia this year.
Yes, good call.
Just that Georgia usually plays teams, and Ohio State hasn't played anybody.
I knew it was coming.
And that's why this guy is my co-host, because someone has to always find a pin to pop the balloon.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and blow up Ohio State like they're the best team in the country. Are they undefeated? Yes, but they haven't played anybody since week 1, and that's a totally different Texas team than they played in week 1. And they barely beat them by a touchdown. It was Arch Manning multiple interceptions against Columbus. So I'm not going to sit here and act like that this is an amazing Ohio State team when since then Grambling, Ohio, Washington, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Penn State, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers. Hold up. Let me be excited about that schedule like this team has played somebody. I'm sorry. They haven't. I'm not going to crown them national champions in that they're going to automatically walk into the big house up in Lansing, Michigan this weekend, or Ann Arbor, Michigan this weekend, and blow out this Michigan team that has a very good defense and can run down your throat. I mean, hopefully, I know that the Alabama transfer, blanking on his name, he's out, the running back. But
Justice Haynes,
Justin Haynes is out. Yes, that's a big loss. I understand. But if Marshall can come back, he's a very fast scat back who can make a big play and take chunks of play. And then the backup running back this last weekend who had over 100 yards and multiple touchdowns, Kazuma or something like that, he had a really great game. Michigan finds running backs. They're just a school that finds running backs, and they can run down your throat, and they have a decent offensive line. And then, again, you have Bryce Underwood. Get him in the open. Make Bryce Underwood have time, use his legs. And Bryce has been better. He has those moments where you're like, aha, look at him. He has the arm. He has the talent. He has the wide receivers. I'm not going to sit here and just say this Ohio State team is going to roll over this Michigan team. I don't think that's going to happen. You both have gone over the spread. The spread is 9 points. You both said 14 and then 20. Are we watching two different teams? Like this Michigan team, yeah, they're 9-2, and they had, they've played everybody tough. They beat everybody they need to beat. They've had 2 losses, but at least they played a tough schedule. Ohio State hasn't. I like Julian Sands. Julian Sands proved a lot, shown a lot, but I would like to see it. This is his first big opponent. I honestly think this far into the season, this is his true test. This is a test for this Ohio State team to see if they are a true contender. Can they play somebody and beat them? I don't think you go into the big house in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and roll through them. It's going to be. I think Nolan was more accurate. I don't think it'll be 17-13, but I think it could be a 21-17, 24-28. I don't think it's going to be this crazy blowout, but both defenses are really good. So it could be a 14-10 game. I mean, Ohio State has stopped most people. They've only allowed a couple double-digit teams. Again, they haven't played a lot of great offenses this year. So this will be a good test, I think, for this team. Ohio State is the better team. I'm not saying that they're – I'm just saying I don't think they roll through Michigan and Ann Arbor.
Yeah. To me, it comes down to, one, do they give the keys to the Ferrari to Mr. Underwood? Like, do they say, okay, we trust you. We're going to let you do this. We're not just going to run draws when it's 3rd and 6, right? Do they say, we're going to let you – we're going to win or lose this game. based on what you do? And do they also cook up some stuff? I mean, like Wolverine special where reverse we throw the ball to you streaking down the sidelines. There's so many things where you go wildcat and the quarterback goes out at the X or at the Z, and essentially the defense kind of relaxes. But with a guy like Demetrius Underwood, you may actually want to see, hey, let's see, let's see if you actually cover this guy, and if you don't really cover him, let's throw him the ball. Do they sort of empty it? Do they just take all the fun stuff that you practice but never use and start using it?
You have to, in my opinion. I mean, they're I don't think they have a shot unless they do that. There's no way they're just going to beat them straight up. I mean,
I think
it's gonna look like USC where they lost. I mean, they got destroyed. You would thought USC looked like they had Matt and Reggie back the way they beat them boys, 13-31, and they scored 13 versus Oklahoma too. So they need to get. They didn't do anything special in that game. This is the game they got to pull that stuff off because it's gonna be the same thing to me. If
also
they don't,
talk different team at that point.
Yeah, I mean, all the teams
I
are
don't think
different.
they are really. I think they're the same team. Honestly, they've played some. Yeah, I don't think they're that much different. I think they have the talent to pull some of those plays off. I love Bryce. If you want to get Bryce out there when Jordan Marshall and mix it up, and Max Bredesen might be out too, which is another loss.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know
that
who's
would.
coming, but
Yeah.
I mean, you want to mix it up and do. You have to. I mean, you're just not going to beat this team straight up. Like, there's no way.
I, I, I think that just because I want to
Even
say
if
it's
Julian got hurt, I heard someone say if Julian got hurt, like it doesn't. Lincoln Keenholz would just come in and just do the same thing. It doesn't
well,
matter. It
I,
doesn't matter who gets hurt on the team when they have 20 guys that are. I mean, like,
It's funny
I
they
mean,
said
like it
that,
does.
they said the
Jeremiah
same
Smith.
thing
Oh,
last
final
year.
save. Like it doesn't matter. It
Everybody
doesn't
said
matter.
the same
Caleb
thing
Downs is
last.
the best player on their team, by the way. If he goes down, that's a little bit of a. But like, if
Little
you're
more.
banking on injuries, good luck to you, Michigan.
I think the player. I mean, we're talking quarterbacks. I think it all boils down to um, can Michigan slow down Bo Jackson?
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
you know, um, I've the limited time I've watched him play, but I've kind of watched him come along this year, and you know, if you look over these rivalry games, a lot of times quarterback play can kind of be here hit and miss, but it's usually the running game. Running game and defense travels,
Yep.
and so can he? My gosh, 6 foot 215.
Yep.
Like, I know last week was against Rutgers. I think the week before he had a pretty good game against UCLA. Hit 100 over with Penn State. Like, I really think who's able to run the football is going to win this game.
It's another year everybody's sleeping on Michigan. Michigan loves it. That's all you can say. Everybody thinks Michigan doesn't have a stand a chance, and Michigan's just sitting here like, that's what we want. We don't have a chance. Yep, we're going to get rolled through. Perfect. That's what we want. Underestimate us. Sleep on us. Obviously, Ohio State's not going to do that. It's been 5 years. They're going to do everything they can beat them. But when you hear that outside noise, you hear these players are hearing all this outside noise. They're hearing this say, "Oh yeah, we got this game." That's what happened last year. Well, there's no reason we should lose to this Michigan team. Hearing it this year, there's no reason. We're the better team. Like, why are we even playing this game? We're going to go up there and destroy them. Michigan's like, we'll see you on Saturday at noon.
Right.
I do like Sherrone Moore. I think Sherrone Moore is the right coach in Michigan, and
Terrific coach.
it's going to be. He's building something in Michigan. He had to rebuild last year because Jim left him nothing when he ran off the end.
So we've managed to do slightly over an hour of a college football show, and we haven't mentioned the Iron Bowl. That is not so much on us as it is a direct commentary upon the state of the Iron Bowl. But I'm going to go to our SEC Unfiltered guy and ask about frankly, the luster, the sheen sort of coming off the Iron Bowl. And is there any way possible that Auburn can make this a game?
Yeah, we'll be there. Well, I won't, but SEC Unfiltered will be there at the Iron Bowl. So shout out to those guys. Safe travels for them. It's gonna be fun always. Doesn't matter what the record is. Like you guys are saying, with all the games for rivalry week. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's lost its luster. I mean, Auburn's not playing good this year, but on the bright side, they beat my school, Mercer, and Deuce played his butt off. True freshman. About time he played, right? I'm happy he got a chance to play. I know it was an FCS opponent, but still looked really good. I'm glad he got a shot, and now he's got another shot. And yeah, there's always a chance, man. This game, I actually do think there's a chance. I'm picking Alabama to win, but this game might be a little loose, a little loose with the score. I think some points going to happen. A little bit more points than people think. They got one of the best receivers in the country, Cam Coleman, who's right there, really with Jeremiah Smith as far as talent for next year. As for being a top 5 pick, I think he is too. He's sensational, man. I really hope they can figure it out and get him to stay at Auburn next year. Because they got somebody special. They got a lot of special guys on this team. Really, a lot of good talent, like Auburn always does. So yeah, I mean, I see it as a game that I think Bama does win, but this is the game to me where I'm like this. It can get interesting. Why? Because we've seen it happen before, right? When you least expect Auburn to do it, they do it, and they have the talent to do it. You can't just say, oh, well, it happened in the past. Like, you got to have some players on the field too. You know what I mean? So we've also seen them get their ass kicked by Alabama with some good Alabama teams, and we've seen it reverse. We haven't really seen Auburn kick their ass too bad. They've won versus Alabama, but it's always been kind of sketchy or close. But this game will be ugly at times. You'll be like, damn, Bama, are you gonna pull it off? It's a little shaky, but I think they do win by about 9 points. I'll pick them to win. Yeah, 30. Yeah, oh no, actually, I'll say 31-23. So a little bit closer than nine. It's only
Okay.
a one score. So 31-23. Think Deuce Knight might throw a pick late. Auburn, a lot of penalties, even though lately they haven't been as penalized. But just think the board gets it done. Got to wear that black hoodie on Saturday at night and get it done and then play in the SEC championship next week. But it'll be close. I don't know what the spread is at all, but 31-23.
Spread. I
My
was just
score.
looking at the spread is 9.5 or 6.5. Sorry, 6.5 spread with a 46.5 total.
Okay. Well, yeah, I got the over, and then I have Bama. I guess I do have Bama covering. I thought I was gonna take Auburn covering, but I have Bama covering. That's a low spread. So yeah, I
How
still think that Bama covers. And
how quick
yeah,
does the
this is
board
the one
wind
I'm
up?
thinking. This one's gonna be close. Like kind of the game, kind of like Nolan was saying earlier. This is the one that could get kind of itchy, scared for Alabama fans. But they'll pull it off. It'll be close though.
Same
How
question for you,
quick
Matt.
does
How do you see it?
me?
Yep.
Yeah. So I agree. I think the only way Alabama doesn't win this game is if a player on Auburn doesn't show up and kill them. Like I'm gonna give out a little shout out to my old podcast and a kid who I interviewed who was a great kid and is now in Auburn and is the heart and soul of that Auburn defense, and Xavier Atkins, who was originally committed in that 1 year at LSU, but came and now is the dominant force at Auburn's defense. And Xavier Atkins leading the team in tackles, in sacks, 81 total tackles, 7.5 sacks, just completely flying over the field. Almost won the Vanderbilt game by himself with what he was doing to that Vanderbilt offense. But this is a game DeBoer could lose. Like this is that, DeBoer, I don't think is a good coach. He's not a great coach. If he does lose this game, he runs to Penn State so quick and takes that job. And, Alabama finds a new head coach this offseason. But I do think Alabama covers. I don't think Auburn has the offense. Alabama has good enough defense to stop the Auburn offense. I do think the cover. I don't even know if I would get the points. I don't know if it gets 46. I mean, if it gets to 46, that's Auburn or Alabama, I think, completely smacks Auburn in the face and goes like 42 points, and Auburn scores like 6. I really don't see Auburn standing a chance. It is a rivalry game, but I do think this is a way better Alabama team. I do like Ty Simpson a lot. I do like the wide receivers in Alabama more. I mean, Coleman is a great wide receiver for Auburn, but I just currently think this Alabama team is way more talented and has a better quarterback to win the game.
Same question for you, Nolan. Do you see it as being sort of like a boring slog like Matt? Do you think it's a little more exciting like Donovan thinks? Or what do you think?
Well, I'll repeat what I just said earlier. Defense shows up. It travels. It plays. It shows up in rivalry games. Defense plays, and I feel like the Auburn defense is a little bit underrated because the offense as I would say, even though our records are different, the Oklahoma and Auburn are pretty comparable in a lot of ways. Strong defense more times than not has had to go win the game. Quarterback play has been shaky at best. But Coleman at wide receiver, the issue with your best receiver or your best player being a wide receiver is someone has to get on the ball. Like they're not touching the ball every play. And so I think if they allow him to go out and make plays, he's darn near unstoppable. Has great reach, good speed, knows how to create that last moment separation, gets off his defense, pretty quickly. He's capable of a lot. I kind of see this as like a 24-17 game, Alabama winning. But I'm curious. I'm real curious to see how Knight plays. They were asking for him to play all year, and he's got the Mercer game under his belt. Made an incredible 75-yard run in that game. I know we're saying Mercer, but Mercer's a little bit better than what most people would think. But I think Alabama wins, but I think Auburn's going to be able to keep it close because truth of the matter is Alabama's not a great running football team, and Ty Simpson's incredible, but with them not being able to run the football, I think that creates havoc. I think that creates opportunities for turnovers. Hence Oklahoma. I think the lack of the running game makes this game dangerous, but I still think Alabama wins.
I see it very similarly to most of you, and I'm score-wise, I'm closer to you. I think it might be slightly higher scoring, but not much. I'm thinking like that 27 to 27 to maybe 20, 27 to 7, with probably at least one like defensive score mixed in, so at least they get into double digits. You mentioned Xavier, Kendrick Falk and his little brother have shown up at times. They have some pieces on defense. They have some guys in the secondary, but Auburn hasn't put together a complete game as a team yet. Not one. Not a single one. They haven't had a single game where the whole team showed up and played well. There have been games where parts of the defense have played extremely well. There have been games where, obviously, one or two of the players on offense have played extremely well, but they haven't had a single unified game. If they have that, it'll be a very tight game. But I don't know if Auburn's capable of having a game where the whole team shows up all at once.
What I've seen from Auburn this year is, and this may be a previous regime issue, and I don't know if it's still carrying over, but they're a team that doesn't bounce back from adversity.
Yep.
Seen against Oklahoma, we've seen it against, I believe it was Missouri. They play well. A bad call happens, something doesn't work out their way, and then the next thing you know, they're done. Yep. I mean, they're like the competing is over. They're done with the game. And I mean, I've seen it probably 3 times this year where something happened on the field. They were competing, they were in it, and then all of a sudden, some adversity happens, and they're done. So
check, please. Right. Yep.
Yeah. And so if they can honestly keep that from happening, I mean, as far as what's underneath their power, if they can keep from turning the ball over, I think Deuce Knight can I think he can pop them. I think he can pop them for something big.
Yep.
I mean, how he has managed to not play for all these weeks, I think Hugh Freeze should have to answer that at some point, wherever he ends up. But they're a team capable of competing with anybody. I mean, they're capable of exchanging fists with anybody that they come across. But the thing is when something bad happens, so far they folded like cheap tents.
Yep.
I agree with that. Definitely.
You're not wrong at all. So we're of a consensus there, it seems. Now, there are some truly fascinating, fascinating games. There's some cool MAC games, but we won't get into them, though I will be watching Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan. I love directionals. Utah and Kansas should be somewhat interesting. But by law, I must discuss Texas A&M, Texas. this game does have juice. This game does have spice. This game has all the stuff. There are people who still doubt Texas A&M even at this late date. Sort of like we heard Matt casting aspersions at Ohio State. There are some people who sort of wonder if Texas A&M is quote unquote for real, despite the fact that they are crazy sick loaded all over the place on both sides of the ball. There are still some doubts there. While Texas is outside and will stay on the outside looking in playoff wise, this could be one of those things that sort of sends you in the upward trajectory for going into next year. It'd be a huge win for them if they can pull it off. This time I will start with my friend, Mr. Nolan J. Lake. What do you think happens, and why do you think it happens in this Texas A&M Texas game?
Man, I am, one of the best parts to me about joining the SEC for Oklahoma, or as an Oklahoma fan, was just getting back to not just our rivalry, with Texas, but just the rivalry between Texas A&M and Texas was one of my most looked forward to thing about us joining this conference, just because Oklahomans think they hate Texas till they run across a Texas A&M fan. It's a whole different level of bitterness and anger that goes beyond football. I mean, would it be an upset for Texas to win? I don't see it. I don't see it as an upset. I like Marcel Reed. I like Arch Manning. I think he's definitely, he's not what they said he was, but who is. Literally in the last 30 seconds, I've changed my mind on who's winning this game. Because it's been Texas A&M really thinking about it for the day. And honestly, I think Texas gets the upset here.
Okay. Finally, a full-on upset. Where somebody gets upset. So let's keep going. I'm going to jump to Donovan. Donovan, same question to you.
Right there with Nolan again. It's tough. I was changing my mind while he was talking actually about who I thought was gonna win. So I'm right there with you, dog. Oh boy, yeah, this one's tough. You know what, man? I'm gonna lean A&M. I'm gonna lean A&M, but I think they win by 1 point.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And the reason I'm picking them is not pretty. It's the pass rush. To just get after the quarterback, man. They're second in sacks, second in tackle for loss in the country. There's a reason for that. They're dominant. They rotate. Me and Bill, we were talking about that a couple weeks ago. How it doesn't have to be the guys starting; it's the rotational guys too for A&M. So I think they win. I think this one's a little bit more lower scoring than people probably would think as well. So I'll go with a 21-20 game. A&M pulls it off. But man, I wanted to. If you asked me, it's only Tuesday. If you asked me this at another time, I might pick Texas. But right now, that defense and that running game is just too much. And Texas running game last week, man, they just can't run the ball, and they have talented guys, and just like Alabama, and Texas has actually way better running backs than Bama to me. I really only like Jam Miller from Bama, but Texas has guys I really do like, but they just can't run the ball. I mean, outside of Arch, he runs the ball really well, but you can't really rely on him to be that guy versus this pass rush. So I will take A&M, like I said, by 21-20, and yeah, they'll be in the SEC championship versus Bama.
Okay, and that brings us to my co-host. How do you see this game playing out, my friend?
For first thing, I think anybody who says that Texas A&M hasn't really beat anybody, Texas A&M has played a lot of good teams. They did go up to Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame in Notre Dame at the beginning of the season, so they have a way better schedule, way better, tougher opponents. I do think they're a really good team. You guys talked about their defense. That front four, front seven of Texas A&M is a very scary front four. As much as they lost in the draft last year, they completely reloaded and they lost a step. They had two first round draft picks, and then a guy go in the second, and they completely reloaded, or two guys in the second. They had a lot of guys go in the top 100, and they reloaded that defensive front. Archie has come into his own late into the season. He has put back-to-back really good games up. I don't think this is it. I don't think Texas goes in and beats his Texas A&M team. I think this Texas A&M team has played really well throughout the season. I do think it's a close game. I think Arch is finally coming in his own. This is going to be a building step, as one of you mentioned, going in for the 2026 season. But I do have Texas A&M winning, and I do think it's going to be like a field goal game, maybe less than it's going to be less than a touchdown, less than 5-6 points. I think they're going to go back and forth. But I lean the Texas A&M defense and Marcel Reed, aka probably the Heisman winner. Wins this game, probably really solidifies the contention for him. And let's be honest, if we're really voting for a Heisman winner, it should be Jacob Rodriguez.
Okay.
But yeah, I have Texas A&M winning, and I would say probably like a 31-27.
Okay, a little higher scoring than I see it. I think we agree on the amount of points. I'm thinking more in that 20 to 24. Yeah, like 20 to 24. I think that Texas has a lead as the third quarter begins, and then just the inexorable weight of that D line eventually cracks, fractures, especially because they can't. People keep saying they can't really run the ball. I think they scheme up some special stuff and get some pop plays. I think they pop a couple plays, maybe like one of those kind of little middle screens to a guy that lines up at tight end who's not really a tight end, and you get some brush blocks and some guy takes a bad angle and boom, that turns to a big touchdown. I think Arch plays one of his best games of the season by doing less, right? Taking what's there, running, not putting the ball in danger. And I think Reed has a slow start but closes the game strong, and that's how they eke out. Probably, like I said, like that 24.
I keep thinking.
20, yeah.
I keep thinking about his last drive at Notre Dame.
Yes. Yep.
With 13 seconds left, and I'm doubting my choices now. Is what's happening, and so that last drive, and I think really going to find out who Marcel Reed is on the road at Notre Dame, hostile environment, playing against a top 10 team, and the poise he had on that drive and the pass with I think there's 12 seconds left to the tight end, just played it with such natural. I kind of lean Texas because the game is at Texas, and that was really the only thing that caused me to choose Texas. To kind of push that decision over to them, but I'm also like Donovan. I love the Texas running back room, and I'm here. It is. We're in the last game of the season, and I'm still trying to figure out why Texas isn't or can't run the football. And I keep thinking the next game is going to be the game where they're going to pop it off. But the truth of the matter is, I don't see that really happening against A&M.
Yeah. It's a tough team to do it again. Watch out for Ryan Niblett, man. That guy could break the game open for Texas for sure. He's done it. I feel like that Kentucky game, right? I mean, they don't win that game unless it's for Ryan Niblett. You know what I mean? Making big plays and special teams. So he's been sensational to watch when he gets the ball in his hands. We just
the punt return against Oklahoma,
Mississippi State. Yeah, I mean,
Mississippi State. That's usually where these games are won at. If somebody makes a play like that, you don't forecast that ahead of time. It just happens in game, and then you're like, oh yeah, there's that guy who does this every week.
Yeah.
But I'll stick with Texas. I'll be a big boy, and I'll eat my own crow later.
Okay, got it. Well, since we have you here, and you obviously grew up in Southern California watching USC during its golden age, let's wrap up with USC and a feels like the old days rivalry game. Take us through that game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, SC coming off a disappointing loss last week up in Eugene to Oregon. Um, this is going to be they've been able to bounce back this season. I'll give SC credit. They've been more physical. They showed that in the portal, getting more depth and getting some big boys up front. They're still not there quite yet on a national level, but I do think they win this game. I know they're 18.5 point favorite. UCLA had a little run, but they're kind of just back to UCLA at this point with what they have, and they're just so banged up too. Like I mean, they're lacking talent and they have a lot of injuries to guys that they really need to play, obviously. So yeah, I mean, this game always for me is fun. Yeah, being from Southern California, like you said, I already talked to some of my boys back home in Westlake Village and some of my boys in Thousand Oaks and Temecula, San Diego, all over Southern California. And I'm on both sides. Well, I'm not on both sides, but I know a lot of people on both sides. Yeah, man, it's a beautiful game every year with the color scheme and just I love it when it's at night, the sunset, at night on the East Coast, and it's always about evening, in LA. So it'll be fun. I do think USC does take care of business on NBC. This game's gonna have a lot of points. I don't know the over unders on stuff right now because it's so early in the week comparative to normal, but I think this is a high scoring game too. I kind of went high with a few of these games, but the last one I guess I didn't, but this one I say high scoring. Just because Jaden and Makai, Jacoby, King Miller, who I love, man, didn't have the best game last week, but it's been really good. Those guys get it done. Their offense just scores, finds a way to bounce back. Still a big game for them. You want to go into next season, like you were saying with Texas, and have something to prove. This is a still pretty young team, and if they can retain some of these guys and have them come back, they'll be dangerous next year. They'll probably be honestly, like a top 10 preseason, top 15 team next year. But it starts, now that loss is over. You're not going to the playoffs. It is what it is. You got to bounce back versus your rival and beat these boys because UCLA's been playing good ball versus SC. They've both been down, but UCLA's won a couple years out of the past three. So, yeah, I'm looking, what is it, 59.5 is over under? Yeah, I mean, I'm about right there. I think it's 38-20. So yeah, I'm right under, I guess, actually. Right under 38-20. I do think UCLA can put up some points versus USC's defense with big plays. And New Heisel just always having some tricks under his sleeve. Being able, someone that's been around this rivalry since
Since he was
forever,
a
right?
small child, yeah, right.
But I go with Lincoln and the boys, and I think they win. Jaden Mavia has a huge game. Makai Lemon, Jacoby Lane, all those guys. King Miller, like I mentioned. And yeah, I think maybe Kamari Ramsey or somebody on the defense side gets a pick or two,
There we
fumble.
go.
USC's been good on special teams this year too, which they haven't been under Lincoln Riley. This year they've changed it. So I'll go with them 38-20. Um, Confident they'll win, but UCLA always scares me just because, like you guys said, rivalry game. This one's different. It's not the same. A lot of these guys aren't from Southern California, but the bulk of the best players on the team are still from Southern California,
Yep.
including obviously. And Nico and Jaden are like really, really close. It's like he called him one of his best friends this week. Those guys are really, really close. So that'll be interesting. Their parents are really close, been friends since they were little kids. So that'll be fun just to watch those two kind of, I guess, similar ish guys. Jaden's better, but
Right.
similar guys play each other. So I'm excited for it. It's fun. I don't know what time this game is too. I could have been wrong on the. I think it's a night game, right? Am I
Yeah, I
right?
think it's a night
7:30
game.
What time is
p.m.
it?
7:30 p.m.
Yeah, 7:30.
Oh, and
Okay,
and that's Eastern Standard Time. So
so 4:30.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
an
what I was
evening
saying.
game, right?
Yeah,
So late
you get
afternoon game on the
you
West
get the
Coast.
sunset at like halftime, which is beautiful out there. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. It'll be a good game. Like I said, lost his luster with US. If they had a won last week, man, would have been an epic for sure. But
Yes.
they didn't. So still got to take care of business though.
Same question to you, Nolan. How do you see that game playing out, and once again, why?
So the score I had is it's kind of crazy. I have 35-17. That's what I have. I've watched a lot of USC football this year, just because I was interested to see, you know, how much more physical would the Lincoln Riley football team be, and this is of all of his teams as far as on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm counting his here at Oklahoma. Also, this is probably the most physical defense he's had.
Yeah.
Um, you know, separating from Alex Grinch was just I mean, he breathed life into his career by doing that, and getting someone out there that can run some defense. Feels like he's maybe dispersed a little bit more defensive scholarships, and kind of maybe changed up some practice habits and practice things he's done to allow his defense to come in and be physical. Personal, I'm a big Lincoln Riley guy. I want him to win. I want him to do well. This USC team, I think, because they're physical, you're not seeing as much as the up and down as you've seen from in the past. If you're going to be a consistent winning football team, at some point you have to be consistent defensively. You don't have to be great. You just have to be consistent. And so I feel like there's some trustworthy guys in that defensive backfield. Up front, they got some guys that they can trust. UCLA, I'm happy for the little run that they had. It's been fun. It was fun watching them upset Penn State, but the fun's over.
Yeah.
I don't think that, they're not going to catch anybody sleeping on them right now. You might catch a couple of weeks of that early in the season, but at this point, with the way that they've been able to kind of right the ship a little bit, I think they'll come in and compete. I think they'll slip in a couple of scores, but otherwise, I just think USC dominates this football game.
Yeah, thus far, I think we're all basically agreeing. But if we have one contrarian,
if there's one,
let's see if we did that about it.
Hold on. You guys are just giving away victories to teams that shouldn't be giving victories. But this is the one time you're right. Let's just be honest. The USC by 1,000. Like the over under is 21.5. And I
moved already.
I'm a Nico person. I'm a Tennessee fan, so I have nothing positive to say about Nico.
He might not be playing. Luke Duncan might
see
play.
that Nico could be out of the game, which could be beneficial for UCLA, to be honest with you. Because
it's tough, man. They're two totally different quarterbacks. I feel like they're
very different.
Yeah, Luke Duncan is like the most like throwback quarterback. I mean, he's 6'6", 220, and just slow as molasses. Man. He's got a strong arm too, like Nico, but they're just so different. Like you can't do anything. I don't think he fits. He doesn't fit Neuhauser's offense. Like you can't get him outside the pocket. He's just so slow. Like
remember Eric Ainge?
Yes.
Of course.
Don't dare talk ill of Eric Ainge.
That's a good comparison though. Luke Duncan to Eric Ainge is a really good comp. That's a good comp though.
I forgot you had the shrine to Eric Ainge somewhere there in your man cave.
I will have to go pray to it now since you spoke ill of Eric Ainge. But yeah, no, I love Jordan.
Does it matter to?
I think Jordan is one of the best quarterbacks who could. I think if he came out, he'd be the number one quarterback taken in the draft. I really think Malava is a great quarterback with Malik Lemon. I don't think there's anything that could stop those two on the UCLA defense. And I do think USC handles business down there in LA, and this game is over by halftime.
Does it matter who plays quarterback to you guys at all? Sounds like it definitely doesn't to Matt.
I think Nico would probably. I would like to see the other guy because I think Nico would be the downfall. He would make multiple turnovers or mistakes that would cost the game even more. And that's not like trying to be. That's what Nico did at Tennessee, and that's what he's done so far at UCLA. That's not trying to be negatory. He doesn't make the throws when he needs to make the throws.
I love how you said, "I'm not trying to be negative."
Well, it's true. It's who he is. Like currently, like he had his. We go back to what Nolan was saying about a peak. His peak was his first start at Tennessee against Iowa, where he just completely went off for like 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns and beat Iowa's defense that year, and then had all this huge expectations and has never lived up to that since. Like
you're not wrong. I think there is some like actual hate mixed in, but you're not wrong.
A little bit. I mean, not the whole gallon, but there's definitely a little bit of.
Bit.
It's how he does dirty, but better for us because Joey Aguilar has been amazing for Tennessee.
Joey Aguilar has really played super well, and I don't think he's getting enough credit as a. Okay, I'm going to say this: having watched the career of Kirk Cousins, I am not I'm not entirely convinced he could not be a starter in the right offense in the right situation. While he's more likely a backup, but that's what Cousins was originally supposed to be too. I mean, for those who remember, there was nobody thinking this guy's going to come into the NFL and tear it up. He was drafted in the middle of the 4th round to be a backup to Robert Griffin III, and things happened. But and he's my number 2 ranked quarterback on my SQBFI, which Nolan stands for the Sam Bradford Quarterback Finesse Index. So he is my number 2 ranked SBQFI quarterback all time. So shout out to Kirk Cousins, who has definitely worked that Sam Bradford Quarterback Finesse Index. But the fact is that there's a couple of 3 really fascinating, exciting games, and there'll be a couple of like ugly blowouts probably. And we ended with the ugly blowout. Yay! But before you run, I'm going to go to our friend from SC Unfiltered, Mr. Dominic. Tell people what you're up to, where they can find your work and follow you, sir.
Yeah, they can find my work at Fansided and SEC Unfiltered, of course. And my name on X, Twitter, is Don James Sports. The name remains the same. Yeah, I'm working on a lot, man. Just go to those 2 sites and check it out. There's so much. Yeah, so just go to those 2 sites and check it out. I obviously have a lot going on at Fansided with recruiting news, which, we saw a lot of flips. Matt Sieg, who I just interviewed, just announced his new top 5. He flipped from Penn State, so we'll see where he goes December 3rd. And then, obviously a bunch of Indiana stuff and a bunch of just SEC Unfiltered stuff too. So just go to those 2 places.
Jonathan Hatton today.
Say that one more time. Sorry.
Jonathan Hatton from A&M flipped today.
Yeah. So there's flip season right now. So check flip season. It's a new season that we've embarked on. Yeah, because the early period is right now, obviously. So yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys always having me on the show. Appreciate it.
I just want to make it clear that I have been slowly but surely trying to draw Nolan in to the scouting writing world again. But until that happens, people just want to follow you just to see whatever thoughts you may want to give them. Tell people how that you may have work to share. How can they follow you, Nolan?
It's going to be at NJ Lake, and you're about to start seeing some more.
Yes.
I've kind of got a little bit more access back. Venables kind of cut me out there for a while, and so not just me, but everybody. And so I've got a little bit more access back. I got a little bit more information coming, and so whatever, Bill, you and I do, that's we're going to do it together.
Woo! Oh boy!
Just made his Thanksgiving week there, Nolan.
Yes.
And shout out Donovan too.
I needed another couple of weeks and gave it to him as a Christmas present.
Yeah, I've been following Donovan for a while, and
Yeah.
excellent content from Donovan, and
Yes.
definitely look forward to now that we're SEC, kind of pulling all the strings and pulling all the things together, and just being a helpful person.
Man.
And I cannot agree more. But I'm glad you two are now acquainted with each other. I think you're both incredible people, and we'll talk more later because Matt, who of course is our resident gadfly, tell people what you've been up to, and of course where Vanderbilt fans can find your work.
Of course, Vanderbilt fans, go to Team MBS and go read that amazing article on why Diego Pavia is not a Heisman candidate for the 2025 NFL season, as well as I have a couple other articles that I'm brewing up and hopefully posting later this week. So you can always catch me at this at Brunelli Sports for those articles to drop, as well as Team MBS Media. And of course, thank you. And everybody out there, this is Tuesday. So by the time you're hearing this, happy Thanksgiving. And you hope you have safe travels, everybody. And that includes you, Nolan, and includes you, Donovan. Happy Thanksgiving. And thank you for coming on to the show.
Yes.
Same
yes.
for you.
I co-sign that. I do co-sign that Matt said. And if you would like to find out about a deep dive into Northwestern's game versus Illinois, Team MBS, I am hopefully finishing that in the next 24 or fewer hours. Also, some other stuff. I'm working on stuff about looking down the line for the rest of the Colts season, the rest of the Chiefs season, and maybe some scouting stuff. I might be ready to drop my first group of position rankings. So, once again, on behalf of... Nope. Yep, there it is. On behalf of Matt Brunelli, And yeah, I used to, whatever, we'll get it. And once again, thanking Donovan James of SEC Unfiltered and Nolan J. Lake of Doing Cool Stuff with Bill in the very near future. I am going to, close out the show. But once again, as was said, please enjoy and love your families. One of the things that living life to this point has taught me is you never know when you might see or be around someone for the final time. Tell people that you love them. Hug people, even people that you may have used to be mad at, hug them anyway. And we are